Hey guys, Alex from 7th Hour Films back again with JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Last time on JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, we had Justice Part 2, where Enyaba finally was able to attack Polnareff and cut his tongue, thereby allowing the Justice to take command of his tongue. And he almost was about to, well actually I think he did actually start licking the really gross toilet. But that's when Jotaro came in, figured out that Enyaba was a stand user, and then when he tried to fight the Justice, but it's a fog, so he couldn't really, pull out the classic auras. So instead, he decided to suck. Quite literally, actually. He just had Star Platinum suck up the Justice, and that suffocated her. Don't know how that works, but who cares? And then, let's see, then they did not kill Enyaba. They instead captured her, and they're going to take her to another town that has a TV, and Joseph is going to use Hermit Purple to project her thoughts onto a TV so that they can learn about the other stand users, where Dio is, and what Dio's power is. And Whole Horse, as he was on his way out, was like, hey, you should probably just kill her, otherwise you're going to find out how scary Dio actually is. Which is interesting for us to hear, because we were in Part 1, we watched Part 1, and we kind of have a firm grasp on how scary Dio is, but I do want more. If anything, I just want to see Dio, so hopefully we get that in this episode, even just a little bit, But yeah, that's pretty much it. This is where I say no spoilers in the comments whatsoever. This is also where I say if you want to watch my reaction to this episode of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, what you gotta do is head down in the description or to the pinned comment, click on the link there. That will take you over to the reaction. You can watch it, hopefully have a good time, and when you're done with that, you can pop right back over here to this YouTube video for the discussion. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get right into this episode of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Stardust Crusaders. Here we go. Alrighty, that is The Lovers Part 1. Man, I have to say, obviously, as we've said, there's no consistency on stands whatsoever. But I do really like this one. The Lovers is very interesting, I have to say. So, this one I think is very creative, very interesting. It's one of those stands, though, that it's like, God, if I got a stand, I would hope that it wouldn't be that one, Which I kind of thought about, the Hanged Man. It's like, yes, you have this magical spirit that can fight for you, but it only works in a reflection. Well, that sucks. Or, yes, you can materialize a gun at any point. Let's say it's just a gun. Thanks. You can materialize a giant thing of fog, but it can only work if someone is injured. Okay. Which I guess it's okay, maybe those could be seen as maybe limiters or something, I don't know. But it's there are certain stands where it's God, I would hope that I would never get this stand. I would want something like Star Platinum, or Silver Chariot, or Hierophant Green, or Magician's Red. Even maybe Hermit Purple, and Hermit Purple is just a bunch of vines and stuff. But, that would be kind of cool, just because at least it's, vines, I could shoot it, grab something or something, the Hermit Purple at least would still have its uses, as well as just the, spirit photography. But, man, I would not want something with the Lovers or Yellow Temperance or anything like that, So, okay, so we've talked about this before, the whole, so you have to see or else your stand can't see. For your stand to see, you have to be able to see what your stand is seeing in order for them to see it, basically. Which has been complete horseshit and has been completely ignored by so many different stands. And I'm going to give them this episode, okay, yes, The Lovers is obviously not following that at all. But I'm going to try to give them a little credit, because you could think, oh, well, here's Hierophant Green and Silver Chariot just going in. They can't see in there. But Joseph is projecting, basically his anatomy onto the TV screen. So I assume that's how, even though it's not a full, like they can't see their stand. Like they're seeing just like a chart basically. Like so, but whatever. Like I'll sort of let that one go. Even though yes, that whole rule tossed out the window pretty much immediately. And I know some people have tried to explain it too, like oh well, it's because Polnareff is a short range stand or something like that. I don't care. That's clearly it doesn't matter. Like that rule just because and I hate to say that this, and you know we keep repeating this too, but maybe one of my biggest criticisms of Stardust Crusaders, aside from the lack of Dio in this, which is also a criticism, but whatever. You can get over that. That's fine. But I will say the inconsistent rules about stands really, like, that really hinders stands, I feel like. And I get it. It's like, okay, you know, we can have stands do anything, you know, that's cool. But there is no consistent rule about stands. And honestly, that sort of lessens it. Like, you know, it's like, okay, here's the new magic system of this part. What are the rules? The hell are rules? Like, all rules have been thrown out of the window at one point or another. Some of them try to stay consistent, you know, like with can you see a stand and stuff like that, but that has been thrown out. Whether a stand can see or not, if you can see or not, that was thrown out the window. So many different things have been thrown out the window with stands, and it honestly, that is my criticism of stands. Whereas, and look, I know Hamon could do a lot of crap. Hamon was pretty crazy too, but I feel like Hamon was a bit more consistent than stands are. But we've talked about that so many times that we don't really need to repeat it too much. So I just wanted to say that. That said, again, the Lovers I think is a very creative stand. I still wouldn't want that to be my stand because it's like, okay, at the very least, like, you know, I was thinking like, okay, so how do you kill your opponents? Because if the pain is just the pain that you feel, how does that work? But then it's like, oh, okay, it's specifically, you know, not only does it do that, but it also brings in Dio's flesh buds in order to destroy the body without destroying Dan of Steel. That may be their worst. That may be their worst translated name, because obviously, you know, I know that pretty much almost every name is based on a band of some kind. You know, just pretty much everyone. Other than maybe the JoJo's themselves, but that's pretty much it. Although I don't really know Polnareff or Kakyoin or Abdal. I don't really know if they're based on bands. I would assume they are, but it's like in Dragon Ball where it's like everything is based on a type of food, basically, you know. Or here's the Ginyu Force that's based on things that you find in a refrigerator. And here's their boss, Frieza, you know. And then he's also based on, you know, ice puns and stuff. And all the Saiyans are vegetables. And here's their leader, Vegeta. Like, it's basically that with characters in this show where it's like, okay, it's all band names. Dan of Steel, because they have to change it. They have to change the names because in the Japanese, it's just the band names. But they can't just do that in the English dub. So we get Dan of Steel, which is a blatantly obvious... That is a blatantly obvious... it's a blatantly obvious rip on the name Steely Dan. So, because they've been pretty good. You know, Enya becomes Enyaba. Okay, that's pretty clever. REO Speedwagon becomes Robert E.O. Speedwagon, and then they just call him Speedwagon. Like, okay, that's clever or something. You know, stuff like that. But it's like, and here is Dan of Steel. Like, okay. Also, real quick, I do want to grab something real quick. Don't mind me. Let me just... Okay. Hold on. Ooh. These sleeves are slippery. Okay, let me see. God, I haven't looked in these in a little while. Where is... There we go. Here. We'll just prop it up here for a little bit. Here we go. Arcana Force 6, The Lovers. Yeah. Arcana Force 6, The Lovers, which you could use with its heads effect to be a double tribute, which can be good for summoning something like the moon or the world or something. Just saying. But yes, we have Arcana Force 6, The Lovers. But yeah, Dan of Steel might be one of their worst names they've done. It's kind of funny, and it's very obvious that they're just trying to cover up for Steely Dan, but you could have even just said, like, Dan Steele. I don't know. It's definitely their worst name they've done, so. Anyway, let's go ahead and hop into the notes. The first thing I wrote down was haggle. That was really funny to watch, because again, I like that we do get a lot of culture in this part, because the past two parts, like part 1 was basically just in Britain, okay, and then so, like, I guess the most the most where they stop and talk about culture a little bit is like Jack the Ripper, when it's like, Jack the Ripper was on the streets of London, but even he was not as horrible as the feud between Jonathan and Dio. Like, what? Oh, that was such a fun line. That's like episode 2 that starts off, and I'm just like, what the hell? What are we doing here, Of course, now they could say that, and I'd be like, yeah, that makes sense. This is JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. I know what's up. So, but yeah, I've loved all the little culture we've gotten in this part. Like, there's always like an introduction to a town and stuff, which is really cool, actually. And so here we get a little bit of haggling, which is nice. Of course, it's not with someone from Pakistan. This is Dan of Steel we're talking. I'm just gonna call him Steely Dan. Does anyone care? I know I'll say like Enyaba instead of, I'm pretty sure her Japanese name is Enya, but it's like, I'm just gonna say Steely Dan because it's easier than Dan of Steel. But I like that Joseph haggling and stuff, and I also like, at the end it's like, I normally sell 5 of these for, $150, like, geez. So that was really funny, even though it's like, Joseph won. No. So that was really funny. I like that. But yeah, Dan of Steel. Okay, so Enyaba's dead. Like, so much for that. So much for that. We said originally, when she was like, I'm gonna go out and kill them all and stuff, I was like, oh man, I kind of thought that she would be like the penultimate stand. Like, she would be the last person they have to defeat before facing Dio. But no. And not only no, she's dead. Like, the most loyal, like, Dio's right hand stand, basically. I said that with my left. His right hand stand. Dio's right hand stand. And it's just, she's dead. She's gone. Like, oh, okay then. She's just gone. Yeah. She's completely dead. We still have no information or anything from Dio. I want him to just be in the show even a little bit. Like, because Enyaba is gone, we can't even, like, get our cameos of, like, when he would be like, what does it mean to live, Enyaba? Like, or, just I told you not to underestimate the Joestars. It's just that stuff. It's like, I miss that. I miss Dio. If you're gonna bring back Dio for God's sake. But yeah. So Enyaba's just dead. She's just completely dead. Which at first I was like, okay, there's a flesh bud in her. And it's like, wait, does that mean that she was good? Like, was she actually a good person and then Dio put the flesh bud in her? And it's like, no. Steely Dan put the flesh bud in her and used the lovers to grow it and kill her. Like, oh, okay. Here's a question, and I can't believe it's taken me till now to realize this. So, Hamon. One method of putting Hamon in someone, the first method we see actually in the show, is when Baron Zeppeli sticks his pinky finger into Jonathan Joestar. Don't take that out of context. And, he hits him, he strikes him, and that sends Hamon through his body. Could Joseph not do that and send Hamon into someone's body and destroy the flesh bud? And I know, I should have figured this out a long time ago. Because Kakyoin had a flesh bud, and they got it out in episode 3. This is episode 16, I'm just realizing this. But could Joseph just send Hamon throughout the body, and then that would just destroy the flesh bud? Hell, now that I'm really thinking about it, you know how the flesh bud, it always pops out at the forehead, right? Could they not have just taken Kakyoin outside, parted his hair, and then the sun would have just killed it anyway? Now that I'm really thinking about it, did we really need Star Platinum to do that super precision to get it out? Because both times, he gets it out of Kakyoin, and then Joseph does an overdrive in order to destroy it. Then the second time with Polnareff, they pull it out, and they're just outside, so it already just burns. It's wait, couldn't you just uncover it, and then boom, there you go. And that's the thing, too. It's okay, and Yaba's dying. Joseph, you Hamon master, fill her with Hamon. Fill her up with your Hamon, baby. What are you doing? Fill her up with Hamon, and then it should destroy the flesh bud, right? Hell, Joseph, when you have a flesh bud inside you, just breathe. Just breathe, you idiot. You're a Hamon master, are you not? I guess he's out of practice, but the most basic thing, just breathe. Hamon will generate. That's not going to destroy the lovers, I'll grant you, but that'll destroy whatever flesh buds it has. Hamon! Use Hamon! You tried using it against the Empress and it didn't work, but you could try it now against the flesh buds at least. Joseph, you moron. That's how Straitso died. Was that, him, a vampire, he started doing his Hamon and that just destroyed his body. He could still generate Hamon, it just destroyed his body. If Joseph generates Hamon in his body, that should destroy the flesh bud. Am I right? Am I right or am I wrong? Or does no one care? Does the author not care? The author doesn't care. Because then how would we have Hierophant Green and Silver Chariot go in and try to attack? Which I do like. I do actually like that. But honestly, it's one of those things that's come on! Hamon Master Joseph Joestar over here. I get he's, we always say he's a complete idiot, but come on. When it comes to battle, he's brilliant. He really wouldn't think to do that. Oh my gosh. This has been your regularly scheduled JoJo's Bizarre Adventure rant. Rant concluded. I know. It's not even a rant. I'm not even mad about it. It's fine. It's just one of those things that's hello? Okay. Enough about that. There's so many things. We've really ranted a lot in part 3, I have to say. Man, it's just so strange. Part 3 is just an oddity among the show. So, yeah. But the lovers. I do really like the lovers. I think it's very creative. So I'm glad we're getting more creative. Because that's the thing. It's we've had a decent amount of creative stands. I like, just down to Hierophant Green and Silver Chariot and stuff like that. Dark Blue Moon was pretty interesting. Strength was ridiculous, but hey, I guess it was creative. And then stuff like Yellow Temperance. The Emperor is dumb as shit, but I love it. Hanged Man is kind of strange, and the Empress. Wheel of Fortune was the only one where I'm okay, who cares? The Wheel of Fortune's stupid. It's just not creative. Oh, this one's a car. Okay. Justice was very good, and now I do really like the lovers. So we're getting a lot of really interesting creative stands, so I like that. Now they do talk about range, so that was interesting. They were thinking okay, maybe we could get out of range, and then he won't be able to control his stand. But it's not exactly what they were thinking. But it's not exactly what they were thinking, but that was an interesting thing. It's like, okay, so the Lovers has the most range of any stand, which is interesting. So, yeah. But that wasn't really it, because they were actually going to find a TV so that Joseph could guide Hierophant Green and Silver Chariot into his body. Oh my gosh, and then destroy the Lovers from within. That is honestly a very clever thing. It's like, okay, stands are a projection of energy, so in theory, you can make them that small. It takes a lot of concentration, but you can do it. And I like that, them going in, it's like a magic school bus, they're going into the body and stuff like that. So I really do like that. Meanwhile, Jotaro is getting pissed right the hell off. Man, as soon as they show that Joseph is okay, he is going to unleash all the auras against Steely Dan. Like, it's going to be crazy, man. And yeah, just everything, like them having to hold him back and stuff like that. It's like, no, you can't hurt him or else you will hurt Joseph, And then him having to be the bridge, like, oh, this is so horrible. He is so furious. But, so I'm ready. I'm ready to see Jotaro unload all them auras, Oh, it's going to be amazing. And I guess, it could honestly show, like, he does care about, his grandfather, that he is so pissed about what's happening to him, So, I really do like that. This was a really good episode. Very interesting. Yes, we kind of go on our rants and stuff like that, but honestly, this was a very interesting episode. Very curious to see where we're going in part 2. And, honestly, I do really like the Lovers. It's a very creative stand. Even though, yes, all the rules about stands have been thrown out the window, right out that window. Still, I think the Lovers is very creative, so that's really cool. But yeah, that is basically it. With all that being said, I'm Alex from 7th Hour Films, and I will see you guys next time. Take care. Alright guys, thanks for watching this video. If you want to watch more of my JoJo's Bizarre Adventure reactions, you can click on the playlist, you can subscribe if you haven't done that already, and be sure you hit that notification bell. You can support me on Patreon and follow me on social media, links below in the description. See you guys later.